Barbecue Warriors. We're here at my compound today doing a little barbecuing. What it is pork tenderloin stuffed with pork sausage wrapped in pork bacon, the triple P. So what we got here, we got two nice sized pork tenderloins. Pork tenderloins is totally different than pork loins. Don't get confused with that, a lot of folks do. Pork loins by this big around, and what pork loins are is pork chops. These are pork tenderloins. Got a little bit more fat than the pork loins and not as big. A lot of times you see these packed 2 to a pack, marinated in teriyaki sauce or some kind of other marinade. Try to find you some that's not marinated. I don't want them marinated because I want to do all the flavor stuff, my stuff, not the marinade from the grocery store. So I got two, and when I'm looking for them, I like to make sure they're big enough around to where they can take the sausage. Got to think about that. You're going to be stuffing them with sausage. You don't want to get a small one and tear your tenderloins up. I got my sausages right here. These are smoked cheddar pork sausage. Smoked is the key word. When you're doing this, it's best to use smoked sausage. That way they're already pre-cooked. You're starting using fresh sausage in here, you got to make really, really sure you've got them done. And sometimes when you do that, with fresh sausage, you overcook the tenderloin itself and dries it out. All right, I got them evened up right here. I know I'm going to wind up using 2 of these in each tenderloin. So that's the length I got. So I'm going to cut it off, trim them up a little bit, just like that. When I butt these together, they're going to touch. So I want to have them flush, take a little knob off them, and that way when they go in, they'll be flush, just like that. We got to get our holes in our tenderloins. You're going to say, well, Myron, you're not going to trim it. You're not going to get any of that fat off. No, I'm not. Tenderloins, not as lean as a pork chop meat, the pork loin, but it's pretty lean. I want to leave as much of that fat on here as I possibly can because I want to try to hold some moisture in it. So I'm not going to do any trim work other than taking off those little nubs down there to make it the same length as my sausage. Start out with a knife sharpening steel. You can clean them up, it's not gonna hurt anything, but what you wanna do, always start with the thick end, just like my pilot hole. Go all the way through, just like that. See that? I got my pilot hole started. All right, I take a turkey baster, push it all the way down. Then I go on the other end, push it back. Take your sausage. You take the flat side and go against the other. There we go. I almost forgot something, and everybody who's ever watched me cook or been to my class is what I always use. Vegetable oil right here. Coat the meat first before you apply your rub. Why is that? Helps the rub adhere, helps it stick. Time to apply a rub. The rub we're using today is my Rubba Dub Rib Rub. It's a sweet rub. It's got maple sugar powder in it. Put a good heavy coat. I can smell that maple sugar powder. It's awesome. All right, got to do our bacon. Start on one end. I got toothpicks right here to pin them, to hold them. I always count how many toothpicks I got in them. Takes about 6. That way when you get ready to take them off to eat them, you pull out 6 toothpicks. You don't want to leave toothpicks in there and you go and bite down on it. Roll it around. Slice number 2. Pin it. Toothpick. Come around. You'll also notice one thing. I'm using thin cut bacon, the cheapest you can find. Thin cut bacon. When you're doing grilling recipes, and you doing smoking recipes is not gonna take a long time, and this right here is an hour and a half to 2 hours. So in relative barbecue terms, that's pretty quick. And especially if you were gonna do something like bacon wrapped shrimp or bacon wrapped chicken livers, you use thin sliced bacon. I know it sounds cool. I'm using that thick cut, upstate, smoked apple wood bacon. Well, let me tell you this. You use thick cut on this, or you use thick cut on that shrimp, your shrimp will be done, your pork tenderloin will be done, and that bacon will still be gummy if you use thick bacon. Going back over the bacon, a little bit of the rub-a-dub rib rub. Going over here on our rack. Now, this recipe ain't gonna call for going into a pan. Not covering it, not wrapping it. Now, we're cooking on Myron Mixon Smokers BARQ 2400 pellet cooker. I got it set on 300 degrees. It's a pretty quick cook, hour and a half, 2 hours. Only thing we got left to do once we get it cooked is apply our sauce. So it's gonna cook out in the smoke the whole period of time. We're looking at about an hour and a half cook right here, maybe 2 at the most. We're looking at the color of the bacon. I want that bacon done. I don't want to bring it out and the bacon's not done. Plus I'm looking at the tenderloin itself. I want it tender too. But the thing about it is, the length of time to get that tenderloin tender, when it was solid, didn't have the hole through it, take a little longer. But now we done went and stuffed it with sausage, and what we done, we thinned the walls up, we stretched it. So now it's not gonna take as long to get that tenderloin section done. Not worried about the sausage. Only 2 things we want to worry about out of the triple P is make sure the bacon's done, make sure the tenderloin's done. Barbecue Wars, we're back on triple P time. Took a ride around 2 hours, about an hour and 55 minutes, so we're gonna call it 2. We got that bacon looking like we wanted it. We knew our sausage was already done, but I went in there and checking the ends. A while ago, my gloved hands, that tenderloin, that's the best way to check it. That's ready. So now, we're fixing to slice and add our tangy sweet sauce, because we've had it off here about 30 minutes now to let it rest. You gotta let it rest. I preach that all the time on bigger meats. It's not as big as a brisket or pork butt, but you need to let it rest. The only thing I don't rest a lot is pork ribs, chicken pieces. So before we start, take my toothpicks out. Make sure you get them all. You don't want none of your friends and family biting down on them. All you gotta do is take your hands and feel. Look at that. Is that righteous or what? Some of the Tangy Sweets orange marmalade. Heated it up, always heat it up. Never put cold barbecue sauce on hot meat that you're fixing to eat. Always heat it. The triple P. Prep work took us about 10 minutes. That's stuffing, doing everything we had to do, applying the rub. Cook temp 300 degrees, 2 hours, 30-minute rest. You ready to eat. Look at that bite. Barbecue Wars, I always enjoy my time with y'all. Again, we knocked it out of the park today. Come back and let me know how you do when you try it out at home for your families and friends. See you next time.